Hi everyone, it's BDevine and welcome to Divine Miracles. And this is a very sensitive subject on anxiety and all the different types of anxiety. And I've been working on trying to bring this to you guys for a long time, so please bear with me as I go through the different types of anxiety and the different things that it's related to in our life and the different traumas that we've been through. Of course, there's going to be a whole lot more to talk about. As I'm going through things, there's going to be different subjects that splinter off of this main subject of anxiety. But the first thing that I want you to know is I'm with you completely. I've had anxiety for most of my life, except for the last 13-14 years. I finally completely got rid of it in my own being. So this is why I know that no matter what kind of anxiety that you are suffering from, no matter what you have been through, if you are willing, there is a way to heal this throughout your life. And of course, each person has their own, place that they're in, and, your own belief system and your own ways of doing things. I'm going to break things down on many different levels for you all and show you how it can be related to things that are going on in your life on a physical, spiritual, emotional, mental, psychological level as well. And we want to start with the first level, I guess, which is a lot of these things are interrelated with each other. So you may find that you have more than one of these different types of anxiety. And I'm going to try to give you little ways of thinking in which you can get out of it. And also remember that you can always have a deeper healing for all of these issues, with me. This is something that I feel I am really, really good at helping people to do, possibly because I've already done it myself, okay? So I've actually written some notes, which is something that I don't do, but I wanted to write notes because there's so many different things. So the first type of anxiety and where it stems from in your life is related to the base chakra and the first level of your aura, which is also connected to the base chakra. We're not going to get into the chakra functioning and all of this too much, but I want to tell you what can start happening when these things are, damaged through birth, through traumas, etc., and why this is related to your anxiety. So the major nerve plexus is, where all of the different chakras run through the different, major nerve centers. Okay, so it makes sense. Nervous system, being nervous, being anxious. So level 1, the base chakra, where your coccyx is. This is where the tip of the opening for the base chakra is. So with this type of anxiety, there's not really a clear connection to earth. There's not really a clear connection to self-love and appreciation. And we need to figure out with your anxiety levels where the original wound or the original hurt or the original pain has come from with you. And only you know what that is for your life and your situation. But here are some things that can happen on the first level. Not wanting to be here at all. Not wanting to be on this earth at all or incarnate on this earth. Like a feeling of being completely in the wrong place at the wrong time. Having some kind of trauma at birth. When you were born, it was a particularly difficult birth, for example, or you were left with some kind of, physicality or big birthmark or something like this. Early physical abuse. Okay, this is all directed to this first chakra, which also includes the adrenals, the spinal cord, the kidneys, the coccyx, the tailbone, that kind of thing. So early physical abuse, maybe as a small child or an infant, there was some kind of abuse, beating, even sexual abuse as well can come into this section. Disconnected to earth, disconnected to people, just not feeling like you're right, with everybody and yourself. The all physical sensations can be different for you like numbed or enhanced, one or the other. The energy flow in your body is regulated by the base chakra, right in the coccyx area of your body. So the energy flow, and if that is disrupted, then you get pain in these areas. People with back issues, lower back, for example, kidneys, adrenal fatigue, all that kind of stuff. So when you look at, so the anxiety side of things, I was nearly getting ahead of myself. The anxiety comes from anger from this early trauma, lack of support and physical pain gives you that disconnection from the earth as well. Symptoms, lower back aches, nervousness in important relationships. So the important relationships being, in some cases, family members, well, in all cases really, important relationships to you. You may feel a disconnect or a sabotage that goes on. When you feel anxious, it usually stems from having a lower back pain or having kidney trouble or something going on. You feel anxious in the lower extremities first. It may be a sensation that rises up. You don't feel like you're grounded. You don't feel like you can connect with other people, so you tend to pull back, and this can bring you an anger towards yourself. There may be anger with relation to your trauma that you've had in the early part of your life. Most of the anxiety stems from an original wound, like I said, that happens from being a very small child. Something where, you gave full trust in a situation and it was taken from you, or it's what you've always known. You can't remember a time in your life where there has ever been peace for you, So what we find is that people who suffer from anxiety stemming from, physical abuse or something similar to this, they find that they can easily shift themselves out of the body because they don't want to be in that body in the first place, okay? And when I'm saying shifting yourself out, it's like you can think of a place or a person or a situation, and energetically speaking, not physically, but energetically speaking, it's like you're there. You can go there. This can come in really handy for healers, of course, who want to be with the client, or they can focus on the client. But if you have a trauma going on here or an anxiety, it's because you're not feeling a deeper connection to the earth, and you may not be getting yourself back fully integrated within your body, like very easily. Okay, remembering that some of these you can have more than one type of anxiety that's stemming from a situation in your life and could be causing physical problems because of this. So, we need to balance by feeling more connected to the earth, grounding yourself correctly. When you start to feel anxiety coming on, make sure that you're grounded. Say, I'm grounded to the earth. You can imagine, you can use crystals like the darker red or black crystals to help you to feel grounded. But it's really about wanting to be here, wanting to be on this plane. And if you've got trauma and all of these other things going on, you may use other means to escape being here, okay? Sometimes anxiety comes on, only when you're, doing something that makes you feel uncomfortable, Sometimes people's anxiety go away when they use things like alcohol or marijuana or something to feel confident in themselves. So it stems back to also being confident within who you are. Accepting who you are is the way to heal this situation. And you accept who you are by accepting the things that have happened to you as not being a direct result of your being here on earth. Like, it's not your fault. Like, we need to put the, not that we want to start blaming everybody, but saying, okay, because of someone else's, someone else's behavior, someone else's behavior towards me didn't mean that I was the one doing anything wrong. They were the adult, especially if this is younger trauma. The person was an adult and they made choices that deeply impacted my life, you know, and that's not my fault. So having acceptance of yourself, your situation, and who you are is going to be the first step to healing an anxiety that builds inside of you. You need to connect with the earth, and you may be afraid of doing that because of the feelings and sensations and sensitivities that you have with doing that as well. So there's a way in which you can speak, you know, about protecting yourself also. So you say, even when I'm in my own body, I'm safe, I'm protected, I'm secure. So you can say these things even if you don't have a spiritual spectrum, you know, about you. So even if I'm in my own body, I'm safe, I'm protected, I'm secure, supported, you know. So all the energy flow of the body stems from this first chakra and the first level of the auric field. The first level of the auric field is holding together all of your organs and bits and pieces, etc. But the experience of early trauma can give you a disconnect from earth, which can make you in yourself just naturally feel out of place, wobbly, okay? And this can then be interpreted by you as anxiety. The way around anxiety is through self-talk. That's the only way around it. And, you know, self-training, you know, and not giving the people who have been abusive to you any more power, okay? Sometimes a past life situation can also be incorporated into this current life. Sometimes an emotional situation can be incorporated with the reason why you're leaving your body, why you're energetically just getting out, okay? You may not even realize that you're doing it. You may feel, when you're out of your body, you may feel really tired, you know, fatigued, you know, have adrenal fatigue, that kind of thing. Suffer from fibromyalgia because you're not in your body, so you're suffering from extremity pain, you know, joint pain, all of these things, for fear of being able to move forward because you haven't got a footing on the ground, okay? So practice grounding techniques and practice this self-talk as well. Disassociate yourself from the trauma, but don't disassociate yourself from your physicality. There's a difference in the two of them, and we'll keep on going, and I'll show you some different things. So the anxiety is stemming from anger, from early trauma, lack of support, and physical pain, disconnect from the earth, okay, causing anxiety. Call it whatever you want, but you get that nervousness inside of you as soon as you feel like you're not supported. You get a nervousness inside of you, or you get an anger inside of you if you feel like someone is abusing you in some way still, you know, and it's all directed to the self, which causes more problems for you than for anybody else. On level 2, this is in the Navel Chakra and the second level of your aura as well. And, you know, this can be sexual abuse. You can have a blockage here from sexual abuse. You can then have sexual dysfunction later on in your life, you know, impotency, problems conceiving. Prostate cancer comes from this. Vaginal ovarian infections from pushing down the feelings of unworthiness or being unwanted. Pelvic inflammatory disease, past life sexuality problems. So you may have never been abused in this life, but still have intimacy problems or issues with your sexuality or how you feel about yourself. And it can be a carryover from a past life, you know, in which case this can be cleared from your timeline. Parents rejecting you, you know, your parents always picking on you, or saying, if you're a male, saying, oh, you're such a girl, and if you're a girl, saying, oh, you're such a tomboy, you know, just picking on you, and you feel this rejection. And we feel it in the navel chakra, just below the belly button is where this is. Your immune system, you know, your digestive system is all affected by this, as well as the other things that we were talking about. So, you know, on this level, the feelings and emotions of the self are affected. Self-hatred, like hating yourself, blaming yourself for everything, rejecting yourself basically, because that is what you've been shown. This nervous anxiety that comes from this, I'm just reading my notes, fearing a deeper connection in relationships whether it's family or friends or lovers, you're fearing this deeper connection in case there's some kind of rejection that goes on, okay? Anxiety stems from inappropriate forms of love and emotional connections. So the symptoms from this can be, you can have urinary tract infection, digestive disorders, cramping, Crohn's disease, vomiting. You could turn into a bulimic. When faced with love, you often sabotage it as well, because it's you wanna finish something before you get hurt. So you're trying to get in there before you get hurt. And because this is part of your physicality or the physical side of who you are, you can also have emotions or anxiety build up inside of you, not only when you're faced with an emotional situation or a loving situation, but because you're sensitive, you're feeling things as well, and you're picking up other people's feelings. Sometimes this can be distorted, and what you think is your own feeling can be someone else's feeling, and this feeling that you get inside of you. And we know that when we start getting anxiety, we get a feeling first, and it starts to rise up, and we think we're fine, and all of a sudden it's there. This can be because we're picking up on what we expect other people to be like, or we're fearing a rejection somewhere. So if you're in a new situation, you start getting this panic. You're going to work or something, a panic. What if someone comes in that I don't know? What if the boss doesn't like me? What if people don't like me? And it starts building until, what if everyone's looking at me? Building into that paranoia, and that's stemming from the second chakra here, and all this problem that went on. So 9 out of 10 people are never going to express, hey, I've been sexually abused. Everyone keeps a secret. It's called a big hush. You don't say anything about it, and you feel weak if you do, or you feel like even if you tell somebody, it's going to be rejected, or you're going to be rejected in some way. But it causes so many different problems, not just on the physical, but the emotional, the psychological, the spiritual. Because even when you're opening up to your spirituality, you fear some kind of rejection somewhere. If I start doing this, then people are not going to like me for that. So I might as well just not do it. So if you have that attitude of, well, I'm not going to do this in case I get started and nobody likes it, or maybe people are just better off without me, or this person is really happy with me, but hey, once they start to work out, or come to their senses, they're just going to leave me. So before they leave me, I'm going to end this. So if this is a pattern, if this is a trauma in your life, then your anxiety more than likely is stemming from the childhood hurt, or the deeper hurt, or the original hurt of rejection by those who are supposed to love you and accept you for who you are. Again, acceptance is key in clearing away all of those feelings. Blaming, just the blame needs to go, the hurt needs to go, and all those kinds of things. And that comes with time of self-love. The anxiety stemming from a fear of the opinions, thoughts, deeds, actions of other people. And if this is affecting your life and your relationships, this is something that needs to be cleared, and it can be, but first it takes that time to recognize the original wound, as we're talking about, and being sure that you're recognizing times when you are self-sabotaging yourself and stopping this. And this is again a mental process. Your spirituality can come into it to help you. Say, I accept myself for who I am. I am not defined by the thoughts, deeds, and actions of other people. And when your anxiety comes up, you're challenging it. You're not, and I'll teach you a little bit about this at the end, but you challenge those feelings. You say that you are not going to accept that as a way of reminding you of the pain that you've been in your life. Of course, counseling with people, talking with people, working with people is going to help you. Doing a healing, of course, is going to help you, but you first have to understand and recognize the original, the wounding part of you. And if you can't recognize where it came from, or you don't understand why you have these fear of what people think of you, then it's possible that this has come from a past life issue and that you were born with it, or it's come in too quickly, or you've come in too quickly. Again, we could be talking about different sections of this for a long time. Again, I will try my best to make some other videos relating to certain specific things, but acceptance, self-love, okay? Challenging the anxiety as it starts to rise. Don't just say to yourself, oh, well, I've got anxiety, you know, I'm really nervous. Because we keep on programming that in. The nervous system needs a break, you know, from carrying on this, you know, problem for such a long time. And I know, again, I'm going to tell you that you can combat anxiety in your body, and it's the way in which your body reacts to threatening situations on a broad spectrum. So whatever situation, you know, that you've had in your life, your body's going to react in that way, even if it's not an apparent threat. So there could be a friend that you meet and that you're just friends. There's no sexuality, there's no ties, there's nothing like that. There's no love or anything. You're just friends. The closer that you get, you may start feeling nervous within yourself that they are going to reject you when they find out about your history or your family life or your abuse or something, you know. So this is going on in your mind rather than just connecting with someone and having a good relationship with someone. And this is where the nervousness happens, and it can happen without you even realizing cognitively that you're doing it. Self-acceptance is key. No more. You've got no more room in your life for all of these, you know, feelings. You know, it's not fair to you as a soul trying to live your life and trying to have a good life to have things, you know, removed from your life out of fear of losing them anyway, when it could possibly be the most wonderful thing ever. So when the feelings arise within you, it's self-worth that you need to give yourself. Even if no one else is there to give it to you, and I'm telling you, all healing is self-healing. If you want to have anxiety and you want to be angry and you want to be bitter and you want to be upset, there's nothing that can stop you from having those feelings. But if you want to come over to full healing, where your life can be exciting and fun, drama-free, no paranoia, no worry, no upset, no stress, no distrust, you know, because you're giving everybody a fresh start, which is what you wanted in the first place yourself, you know. If you want that life, then there's steps to do it. And the biggest step, self-acceptance. Forget about how anyone has treated you and say that you're an individual and their behavior, you know, is a projection of how they feel about themselves or something that may have happened to them, but it has no reflection on who you really are. And in fact, on the second level, this is what you need to do. Who am I? You know? And don't put any negative words in there about yourself anymore. In fact, they need to be switched to positive things. So as soon as something starts to rise within you, do the work on an inner level on yourself. I'm not worried about anything. I'm not nervous. I'm protected. I'm fine. Everything's fine. You know, I'm just connecting my cords from the things that have happened to me. I have forgiveness, and, you know, I am deserving of a wonderful life. And, you know, that anxiety hasn't got a chance to live because you're not giving it any fire to do so. Okay, I'll keep going so we've got all the different parts. Remember, these can intertwine. You may have more than one, you may have all of these things going on with you. Okay, level 3, the solar plexus chakra. This is your main part for past lives. This is the main part for your own personal power. And this is the most part that myself as a healer see with other people, you know, having this ripped open, this area. It's, if you get like indigestion or ulcers, things to do with the stomach, you know, generally on the left side of the body has to do with the mother issues, and the right side has to do with father issues. And you can look at your body and see, or masculine and feminine, okay? So it could be mother, sister, aunt, whatever. You know, you can look at your body and someone who has a really bad or strained relationship with their mother, generally there's going to be a lot of left side stuff, and or mother or feminine people, and the opposite, the right hand side stuff to do with males, in particular masculinity, father figures, etc. On the right hand side, you may notice there may be damage, and there can be things that correlate with each other as I'm speaking with you. So the level 3 is the solar plexus. Indigestion, liver problems come from here, and that's usually a father issue. Ulcers, hypoglycemia, diabetes. Okay. Now this comes when there's damage in this area. It comes from control. People controlling you, taking over your personal space, your personal power, your personal rights. On an inner level, you may feel like you're always doing something wrong. You may have fear surrounding authority figures, people who may come down hard on you. It may be a boss at work, and you'll be like, please don't tell me off, I don't want to get yelled at. You get this thing. So there's resentment in some cases for family members, maybe one in particular, maybe all of them, and definitely trauma from a result of that kind of control, and you not being in control, or feeling not in control of your future, your life, your direction. You feel like out in space kind of thing. So there's anxiety that builds over judgments and control, and a fear of being disliked in some way. So you may say things, it's always my fault, I'm always wrong, I'm always doing something wrong, that kind of thing. You may have those kinds of judgments about yourself, or just blame me. It's easier to blame me than anybody else, So you're self-critical because of the control that other people have had towards you, okay? So when you get an anxiety here, it usually builds when there's something of importance to do, or, that you're fearing. Like if you need to go to school or something, you're going to fear what the teacher's going to say to you. So you're building all this up inside of yourself. You can get stomach pains. You can put on weight, around this area, like the protective kind of a weight. Like if you see people who are quite slim all over, and then they've got this belly, they've got this liver thing, they've got a resentment to people, they feel like they need to protect themselves, although inside of themselves there's a lot of, resentment for others who have controlled them. However, they don't know how to then be in control of their own life, because it feels difficult. It feels like no matter what direction that you go into, when it's in this solar plexus area and in the middle of your upper back, it feels like when you're going into this, that any situation, that someone is going to be judging you, okay? So therefore, you judge yourself straight away, kind of put your hands up in the air and give up. However, you still have to function in everyday life. You still got to go to school where there's bullies and all this kind of stuff. You still got to go to work where you're fearing what the customers are going to say when they come in. And that's the kind of anxiety I had on a deep level, was in my solar plexus area. In fact, all of them so far, okay? But this one was the one that I felt the most, and this also stopped me a lot with my own spiritual journey, because I was worried about what people would say about it, especially my parents in the beginning. And then I was worried about the judgments of other people doing YouTube videos, you see. So I had to really retrain the way in which I felt, because your solar plexus chakra is your feeling center too. When you're getting your intuition and you're getting your inner feelings and you're picking up energies from other people, it's all coming in here. And at the same time, you can get, imaginary feelings of judgments, because you feel like, someone's going to certainly do that, because that's all you've had your whole life is judgments, So you start judging yourself before the process has even begun. And on top of that, you're feeling sensitivities of clients that you might be working with, or other people. You're picking it all up. It all can become very overwhelming. A lot of people get sudden pain in the right-hand side of their body, underneath their ribs, or the left-hand side of their body. You may get this sudden sharp pain, and you feel like you need to stretch it out. That's also another symptom of, okay, someone's going to judge me up here, you know, I need to be ready. And it's almost like going to Christmas or, you know, going to functions with family. You're like, okay, they're going to say something about what I'm wearing. They're going to say something about my hair. They're going to say this, they're going to say that. I really just don't want to go. And this could be like, you know, when you've got to go to a social function and you start building it up as a negative in your mind, and then go, yeah, well, you know, I wonder what excuse I can come up with not to go, kind of thing. So this is in the level 3, the solar plexus area, solar plexus chakra, and the 3rd level of your aura is affected by this in your life. So if you have diabetes or hyperglycemia or ulcers or any of these things that we were talking about, this can be cleared out very easily when you work out the original wound, which could be trauma from controlling parents, just as simple as that. Resentment for family because of the way in which you've been treated and made to feel like you're, you know, something wrong with you, kind of thing. So then you start believing that there's something wrong with you. Hear that word, there's something wrong with me, and then you fear that other people are going to see there's something wrong with you. It's a ridiculous little thing that we get ourselves going around in. And I know that some people are going, oh my God, I do that, okay? Because it's true. So we have to say to ourselves, you know, I'm now cutting any ties or deactivating any ties to anyone who's ever made me feel like I am not a powerful person in my own right. For anyone who has controlled me in any way, with my knowing or without my knowing, who've tried to manipulate me in any way. And I am sweet enough just how I am. And when I'm feeling something, when you're feeling something coming up, it's starting to come up, it may start in your own little unique way first. Say, no, this doesn't happen to me anymore. That was the old person. You know, this is the new me, and that doesn't happen to me anymore. So you're reprogramming yourself with acceptance. That word is going to come up the whole time. If you've got controlling parents and if you've got trauma from people, you know, doing that to you, you can either continue to live under their control or step aside, you know. And if you can't get out of their house right now and under their control and everything, mentally you are free. And this is the only way you're going to free yourself, because this is where you've put it, you've placed it, whether it's your, you know, whether it's your doing, you know, because of your conditioning or because of just complete trauma, like all the time. So this is how we've got to get out of it. Okay, so we've got to do the opposite. Put the opposite in your mind of what you've been taught, or how you've reacted, or how you've been conditioned, or how badly you've been abused, is a reflection on those people. And we have to remember that. It's not a reflection on you unless you want it to be. And 9 times out of 10, people don't want to be in this situation at all. It's debilitating to have anxiety on any level. Whether it's your own anxiety that you've had and you've been dealing with for the longest time, or it's anxiety that you pick up from every place, person, situation, and everything since you've opened yourself up to a spiritual reality, you know, which is a feeling reality, you know. So we can control it. You know, we control it with the words in which we say, which we change. So if you're saying to yourself, it's always my fault, change it. It's not my fault. You know, you can still be a responsibility for the things that you do wrong. But, you know, if something is clearly not your fault, like being abused as a child, that's not my fault. Do you know what I mean? So changing it, changing the wording, you start getting rid of this, I'm telling you, and healing these areas in your life. Working, you know, if you can't heal within yourself, or you feel like you need a hand, again, go to someone that you feel like you can totally trust, someone that you can talk to. And I'm always going to be there for you, okay? I get it on every level. And I work on all of these levels, detangling, decording, stripping away everything that you don't need, resetting the body, bringing back the cells, bringing you into a powerful state, a powerful being, not a damaged being. We don't want to be that. We were born powerful. It's been stripped away by people who could see that power, not your weakness, okay? All right, so thinking you are some way stupid, wrong, all of that has to stop. okay? It may be hard at first. It is going to be difficult, but the effort that you put in, you're going to create a new cycle which is going to support you on every level, okay? All right, so that's level 3. And also your clairsentience, your clear feeling comes into level 3. Picking up the earth energies and picking up the energies of other people. So we need to create a boundary or a buffer. And I usually work with the angels to do that. I'm like, you guys buffer that energy so I can be aware of it, but I'm not taking that stuff on anymore. And you can feel when you're taking something on, you haven't disconnected yourself properly from something, or you haven't put up a boundary. Put yourself into protection every single day, but work with your mind, okay? It's going to save you. Okay, the 4th level is the heart chakra, the will space, this stuff in here. Okay, circulatory system, your thymus, the vagus nerve, the upper back. Heart palpitations. This is where a lot of people feel like they're getting a panic attack straight in the heart. Like, ooh. Angina, this feeling like can't breathe kind of thing. Okay, it's your love and will space. Okay, the back places in where your chakra is connected to in the upper back as well. That's your will, and the front is the space of love. Okay, so this can be damaged here by love being shown to you in the wrong ways. Okay, being heartbroken constantly, going through a lot of grief, sadness in your life. Feeling sorry for yourself can occur when this happens. People who are always like, poor me, poor me, poor me, poor me. They've just got stuff going on here where there's a deep sadness that they can't process. So they're looking for sympathy and love from other people because they obviously didn't get it from a place or a person or a situation that they really valued, okay? They can't find love or don't know how to express love, okay? There's a lot of people where they feel cold, they feel cold-hearted, or, you wouldn't approach that person for sympathy, or you know people like that in your life. And because maybe this was a parent, if you were a child that went through an emotionally closed off situation, or you saw a very violent relationship in love between your parents and that was what you saw as love kind of thing, or there was no expression of love, like there was no hugging, there was no good night sweetheart or anything like that, there was no kindness to you, you may inadvertently shut your heart off to anyone who's trying to give you kindness because you think that they're up to something or they've got some kind of agenda, okay? You're nervous about having support or being lovable. This is this section here in this space. The life force is strong for others. So in other words, you have empathy and understanding for others and you're supportive of them and you totally get it and you feel like you're on their wavelength, but you don't feel supported yourself. And this can also be, upper back problems as well, the support, like being the spine. Releasing judgment and making a choice to love and support yourself and your will, what you want to do in your life. Again, regardless of what anyone else has treated you like. It says here that you judge yourself harshly and you expect it of others as well, okay? You have nervous energy in your heart and you worry about what other people think. Can you see how a lot of these are interrelated with each other, okay? But with my anxiety, I felt it more in the solar plexus. But sometimes it got to be in my heart. And that was when I was feeling the strain of, someone else's situation. Or I felt like I was being pushed aside by someone that I cared a lot about. Or I was worried about my children, or examples, those kinds of examples. So nervous energy in your heart space is a lack of support in your life, lack of feeling lovable, and in some ways being angry about that because of the way in which you've been made to feel. So you can go into a situation and suddenly you feel good about yourself, you've gotten up, you're dressed, you're ready, you're all done. You go into a room full of people and suddenly you feel like the ugly duckling. That's something that you've created because you're not standing in your own power You know, you're not accepting yourself, again there's that word, for who you are, and you're believing the people who have shown you judgment, you know, towards you, or comparisons towards you, or you've believed it when people have not shown you love, so you believe yourself to be unlikable, unlovable, you know. You say things about that to yourself. Oh, well, that'll never happen to me. Nah, you know, I'll never find the right person for me. It's not possible. There's no one out there that's right. Everybody out there ends up hurting you, so what's the point anyway? You may say things like this to yourself. You may get into a situation where you can feel that there could be a loving solution for you, or you can feel that there's someone that cares for you. And as soon as you feel that they care for you, you feel this anxiety inside of yourself, and you try to shut it down in any way that you can, but instead of shutting it down within yourself, you shut down the other person who deeply cared for you. In case they don't mean it, in case they're going to hurt you in some way. This can stem into other areas of your life. Shutting it down, I'm shutting it down before it even begins, kind of thing. You know, a lot of times this happens in relationships. All of a sudden, you know, you might be into a relationship and all of a sudden you're gone because the feelings became too intense. They were too confronting. It meant effort. It meant, you know, I'm going to put in all this effort and this person's just not going to be there. And that's because of the way in which you've been treated. And this poor person, you know, may have been willing to love you for the rest of your life, but you don't believe that you are lovable. So herein lies the problem in the fourth chakra. You can see love in other people. You feel like they're more worthy than you are of love because of how they look, or how they act, or how they speak, or their life situation. So in other words, you're comparing and you're judging because, you know, you've been left out in the cold. You know, you haven't been shown what it is to be truly loved, and therefore you're not allowing yourself the chance to be truly loved. And really, you can only truly find that love when you truly love and accept yourself, no matter what has happened to you. That real power for yourself has been stripped away, you know, and it's happened, and maybe it's happened to you constantly. The only thing that stayed the same is the way in which you reacted to it. As you change the way in which you react to how other people treat you, you don't have that experience anymore. You can strengthen yourself. Something's crawling on my neck. Strengthen yourself and empower yourself. The judgments start to go. You start opening up this heart space, creating it full of light and love and support. You know, you start accepting yourself for who you are. And when that anxiety rises, you say, no, I'm perfect just the way that I am. No, not listening. You challenge it. You don't just go, oh, I'm feeling it, I've got to get out of here. Because then it gets what it wants. It's trying to give you a response. Hey, you know, there's a situation here. This could be it. This could be you getting through this situation. This could be you letting go of your judgments. Are you going to do it? Nope, you backed out again. Don't think of yourself as weak or dumb or stupid, because we've all done this, okay? So, loving the self, even if you feel like you're the most unlovable person in the world, it must begin with you. And it starts with changing the words that come out of your mouth, the people that you choose to be around, you know, getting to know who you really are, looking at the original wound. Where did this feeling first come from? Where? You know, were you treated in a really bad way? You know, did you ever see anyone loving in your life? Not even on TV? Because the things that are on TV, like the loving relationships that you see there, if that's an ideal for you, then that shows you that it's possible. But you must feel this way about yourself. This takes time, everybody, you know. This takes time to really examine, you know, trauma and past life stuff, and really, you know, learn to understand yourself in all of these situations. But you must always remember that, you know, you are a powerful, amazing being, you know, here on the planet. You know, what's it going to be? How's your life going to be? That's another choice that you need to make in your life. The way in which other people have treated you has not been your choice. It hasn't, you know. So remember the person that you feel is deserving of those things is also you. You know, you are deserving, and you must see yourself as a deserving person, even if you've been through the most heinous of situations. That does not reflect on who you are. Again, it shows your power that someone was trying to destroy, not your weakness. And it's not weak to have anxiety. It shows that you're a feeling person with a lot to offer the world, and that you're going to use this to your benefit, not to make you feel worse about yourself, but you can use the feelings that you get in your body, you know, to work with you. Okay? And then you can get rid of the disease or discomfort or problems that you have in your body, as well as you recognize your areas of wounding, where you've been wounded, and what area of your body that it's happened is related to an emotion as well. Okay, so the fourth one, you judge yourself harshly. It's time to curb all this. When you feel the anxiety in your chest, ask yourself, is this my anxiety? Is this someone else's? Why am I feeling this way? And start counseling yourself about how you react to your feelings. We need to embrace them, that's for sure, but we don't need to be reminded in a physically uncomfortable way of anything either. We've had enough of all of that. Okay? So we move into the throat chakra. Big one for me. Throat chakra. Following your truth. Past lives are situated here too. All the times, you know, you've been a speaker in a past life and been killed for what what you've said. It's happened to nearly all of us, okay? So following your truth, this has to do with the thyroid, hyperthyroid problems. You don't say what you need to say. Goiter, neck problems, bulging discs, lungs again, mouth, speaking, tongue problems, all this area. Being killed in a past life for speaking, maybe about your spiritual beliefs. Betrayal, this is huge, being betrayed, okay? As a child being betrayed by parents. As a child being told to shut up every time you spoke. You may have speech impediments. I had, stuttering for a lot of times, and I learned how to cover it up. You're not believed when you've said the truth. Again, this can come home. This can come into other parts like sexual abuse. You've spoken up about sexual abuse, so your second chakra and your throat chakra are affected. Also, your family in the heart as well. So you're all entangled. Okay. Not believed when you've spoken the truth, especially when you were younger. Childhood trauma, parents not keeping you safe, as an authority figure, not protecting you. So you feel unsafe in your environment, unsafe when you speak, that you're going to be challenged, or you're going to be, hurt in some way, or you're going to have someone ridicule you when you can't speak, like I was saying, stuttering. So a lot of people get nervous at the prospect of a speech. That's normal. But why do we see it as nervous when we get that feeling? I tend to liken it to excitement. So I'm saying I'm not nervous, I'm just excited, of the things that I'm going to say. I'm just happy, I'm excited. I'm not nervous, and it stops, So you're needing to speak, you're nervous about not being believed when you do say something because of what you've said before and no one believed you. It's the worst feeling in the world. I think it's one of the worst feelings in the world to honestly tell someone the truth and have them not believe you. Like, you've gone out of your way to speak the truth, they don't believe you. Or when you've been accused of something and you haven't done it. I feel that's like another thing that's really, really bad. And you're trying to say, I haven't done it, and you're not believed, Someone dominating over you. The other thing with your throat chakra is it's your divine will. This is what helps you get onto your personal path. And, if you're afraid to say what that is, you may not feel like you're on your personal path. And also, it's not just the things that you've said that are sitting in this space. It's the things that people have said to you, the hideous, heinous things people have said to you. Again, making you feel not good enough, not even to say something. You know, there were many of my people in my life, like people that I've known, etc., that had no idea of my spirituality and my beliefs and actually my knowledge, to be honest, because they didn't listen to me for 5 seconds, speak straight over the top of me. This is why I love making videos, because I can talk to you guys and no one's interrupting me. So this may be something that you go through also. You get interrupted, you get spoken over the top of, you know, you get cut off and all that kind of stuff. It's like what you have to say is not, you know, doesn't mean anything. But what they have to say, it means everything, and you've got to listen to it. So there's a frustration with hearing as well. You might even have ear problems, deafness, not wanting to hear stuff, switching it off, selective hearing kind of thing. You need to have the freedom to speak. And you need to really just be conscious of the words that you're saying and not conscious of the opinions of other people. What they're going to say to you doesn't really matter, as long as you've said something with integrity and what you've meant to say and it's coming from the right place. You know, you're not putting people down, or, you know, I always feel bad if I've said something out of anger. Like, instantaneously I feel really like that wasn't me. Where did this come from? But instead of going, I hate myself, I just examine why I got to that place in the first place and say, well, you know, you didn't speak up here, here, and here, and then it's led to, blah, you know, an eruption kind of thing. You may also go through the same thing. You don't say anything, you don't say anything, you don't say anything, you don't stand up for yourself, and suddenly you just blurt it all out, you know? So there's imbalances here, which means that in some way you don't see what you have to say, or the life path that you're wanting to take is valid, or that somewhere along the line something's going to happen to you because it's a deep-seated trauma from a past life. So somewhere along the line you're going to be, you know, killed. You know, it's a deep-seated fear for many people. You may not even realize you have a fear of being harmed, hurt, killed, whatever it is, from speaking. You may have come into your, you know, when you were conceived, you may have come into it sort of like half and half. Like you started to come into the conception side of it and thought, actually I kind of like it more in spirit, but I know that I need to be born. I know that as a soul I need to have this experience, but I kind of like it over here, you know. And you find people who can't speak at all, you know, are partway in the spiritual realm still on an energetic level. So here's the physical, there's an energetic level here, there's an energetic level inside, and it goes right out. So on one of those levels, you know, they're still in the spiritual realms. This explains, I'll tell you later on, it explains a lot when we get further up. So, defending yourself all the time too, because of someone always dominating over you for whatever reason. You fear how you sound when you speak. I hated my voice. You know, you fear how you sound when you sing and all that kind of stuff. I didn't want to sing in front of anybody. You don't like to make waves, so you won't say anything because you don't want to upset anybody. I'm not going to say anything because it's going to cause problems over here. So you lack confidence in yourself. Again, self-acceptance is key. Denial, you can deny things all you want. Oh, I don't feel that way. But your body's showing you otherwise, you know. So just examine these things, you know, anyway. Childhood verbal abuse as well. Always being called names. Again, you're stupid, you're useless, you're dumb, you're an idiot, you're wasting your time. Oh, what are you worrying about that for? And why are you doing this? And, you know, you get your head in from the clouds and you're just an idiot and all those kinds of things. People at school saying that as well. Maybe you're not smart in class and, you know, the teacher's at you as well. So you have it from all different areas. So therefore, you know, whatever you have to say is not valid because you're dumb in some way. Again, retraining yourself to accept, going back into the original, you know, wounding that you had. There may be many of them. Probably if you go through your life, you'll go, you know, there's so many times that people have put me down. And the thing is, you have believed them. And that is what you have to clear from this space. So you can even hold this space and say, anything that's ever been said to me that I have believed that has been negative, I'm getting rid of it, and throw it away from yourself, you know, and just imagine it clearing, you know. There's many things that you can do. But again, it's always going to come back to challenging yourself and your reactions, accepting yourself for who you are. Because you can be bitter, you can be upset, you can be, you know, not say anything, not make waves, not stand up for yourself, all you want. But you're going to still end up with nervous anxiety when you need to speak, when you need to say something, when you need to, you know, live your life, when you need to move forward. You're going to feel any forward movement, you're going to feel anxiety within until you address the real, you know, issues here and what your body's actually trying to remind you of, which is acceptance, loving yourself, reacting in a different way, and not believing the views, the opinions, the insults of other people who are projecting how they feel about themselves, their own inner fears on you. They may have their own past life fears they've got to deal with, and then they hear you speaking about your spirituality or about your life or about your goals, about your dreams, and they're like, oh, fear, 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 so I need to shut this down. Okay? Maybe you're guilty yourself of going, don't believe that, or don't believe that, or that person's an idiot. Or maybe you've said it yourself, had little judgments that you feel bad about. Just clear it away. Forgive yourself. Let it go. Remind yourself, I don't need this to remind me where I'm ignoring myself somewhere, where I'm not forgiving myself, where I'm not believing in myself, where I don't love myself, where I don't accept myself. I don't need physical sensations, pains, problems, issues to tell me these things. I just need to pick up on it and go, okay, this is happening. So what am I doing over here to myself, regardless of what I've been through? Okay. Strength, freedom to speak, the blue colors, crystals, etc. The sixth area, third eye, brow chakra, eyes, face, you know, nervous system in the face, tics and things like that people get, you know. Ears, sometimes headaches, cluster headaches, migraines, etc. can come from this third eye, which is where your spiritual nourishment is. Now, where this can be damaged and cause anxiety is through witnessing abuse, violence, having horrific nightmares throughout your life, fear of seeing something. Okay, a lot of people say, oh, I want to open up my third eye, but I'm terrified of what I'm going to see. This could be stemming a lot further back than you think. Childhood abduction, childhood, maybe alien stuff, you know, witnessing abuse from someone else, or maybe alien abduction, which happens, people, okay? You know, I've rescued many people from this now, you know, and on a deeper level too. So childhood trauma, nightmares, aliens, maybe too much into the spiritual. So in other words, you may just enjoy being in that spiritual world so much and seeing and meditating and being and out there and so good that you don't have a grasp on reality, and people think you're weird, strange, you know, out there, woo-woo, and possibly you've been acting that way because you're not grounded and centered inside of yourself. This can come in with kids too, having ADHD, ADD, behavioral problems, Asperger's, autism. All of this is related into the third eye. Some people have a superiority complex. I don't know how many people, you know, in the spiritual realms who think they're better than other people, you know, in the spiritual environment, communities. Oh, that they're gifted, which makes you think, of course, that you're not, which then triggers a whole lot of other emotions within yourself, which is why I've always maintained that we're equal no matter what. We tap into things in our own way because that's unique for us, but we are equal, we are powerful, we're strong, okay? But there are superiority people out there. So you can usually tell if someone has a superiority complex or thinks they're better than anybody else, thinks they're higher than anybody else, or thinks that they've got all the authority in the world, or, you know, all this kind of thing, then it could be that this area, the sixth chakra, level with the sixth level of your aura, that it's been very damaged. because of different things that have happened to them. So then they've developed this superiority strength, which is fake. You know, that's who they're trying to be. Because in reality, you know, they feel inadequate in many different ways. These people can be competitive. They have to win, you know, everything. They must be the best. And maybe they've had a childhood where their parents forced them into this kind of attitude. You know, we all know the people who are pushed and pushed and pushed, you know, to do something. So when they're nervous about what other people are going to see about them, what they're going to see. So a nervous experience stems from working with spirituality. Become really, really scared. They become nervous because they're going to have to work with the different parts of who they are as well, you know. So if you have anxiety about what you're going to see or what you have seen in the past, you know, this is not a bad superior complex. You just may have this thing because you've witnessed some heinous events, all right? And you don't want to see anything spooky or scary. So you shut this down. You end up with headaches. You end up with eye strain. You end up with pain behind your eyes. You get earaches, all because you've shut this particular chakra down in your life. Because you don't want to see anything spooky, scary, untoward, horrible, horrific, what you've seen in the past. So if you say to yourself, I can create a filter. So the only things that I see are positive. Then you've done it. So the very things that you were afraid of, worried about, concerned about, it goes away because you've created a filter in your mind's eye against all of that. Doesn't mean that you're not going to see something, you know, at some point in your life that you didn't really want to see, but that you can cope with it. And it's the coping mechanisms that is what we need. And if this area is shut off, you find an imbalance in here, you may find that being out of it, touch with reality, drinking and smoking and all of those, is where you feel most comfortable, because then you don't have to deal with what's going on here in the present. In other words, you don't have to see anything that you don't want to see. So a lot of children float out of their body through the third eye and through the back. They escape. Now, I don't know if you've spoken to, if you've ever been in a classroom situation, you see this one kid there just staring off into space. They've done it. They've lifted themselves straight out of the back of their head. You see kids playing games, you know, and like they're constantly just staring. 9 times out of 10, they're on autopilot. They're not even in their body. People who suffer, you know, from sleeplessness and anxieties with relation to sleeping and relation to what they might see when they close their eyes because of nightmares or abductions or things like that that have happened, they will use ways in which they can switch their third eye off, you know, or their inner vision off, and maybe just focus on making sure they're awake all night, you know, focusing on the television or something like that as their way of escaping reality. So when you are nervous in this area of your life because of things that have happened or that you've witnessed or you've seen, you are afraid of, number one, what you're going to see. Number two, you're afraid of people seeing the real you. What are other people going to see as they're looking at the real you? Do you know who you really are? Have you been a certain way for so long that you don't even have touch with who you really are because you've always had a label, a kid, a student, you know, a mother, a father, or something like this. You've always had some kind of label, you know, so you don't really understand the full workings and mechanisms of who you are. And you're traumatized by past events or witnessing things, maybe from a past life, and you don't know why you see these things flashing in your mind. So you create a filter. I'm safe and protected. I won't see anything other than what I really need for my life path. I won't see anything other than positive aspects of spirituality. You don't have to see all the negative sides of things, you know. You don't have to see all incarnate beings walking around that are hideous and horrible, or demons, or whatever it is that you believe in, unless you really want to. You can shut it all off. So when we clear this area, you know, we really are honest with ourselves about how we just shoot ourselves off, you know, we're in a relationship and the partner's talking and we're just 20 million miles away, we need to be conscious of bringing ourselves back into our being, accepting ourselves for who we are, getting to know who we really are, and understanding that if we're feeling anxiety, that the first port of call is, am I in this physical body or not? You know, am I off somewhere? Am I traveling somewhere? Am I healing somewhere else? If so, I need to bring all the pieces and parts of myself back in. I need to fill this area with protective light, you know, and understand that as I accept, I'm in control. You know, and who cares what anybody else thinks, really? I'm working on me and becoming the best version of myself, and therefore I'm going to be so much fun that I'm going to be irresistible to everybody. Who's not going to want to hang around me kind of situation. So, you know, you're doing it in a funny way, you know, of self-love, you know, and just excitement in your life for things that can happen and people that you can meet and situations you can be in. Find the original wound. You may need to go through a regression or something similar. Again, you may be afraid of meditating because of what you might see. Notice these patterns in your life and understand that you can also put, you know, protective field, protective, you know, guard around yourself. Ask for it, you know, ask for it. And believe, like you believe in all these other things, have that full faith in belief in yourself that you can control your experiences. You're not left alone here. You're not lost. If you feel like you're in another dimension and you can't get back to your physical body, tell someone who understands that kind of thing, you know, right here. Okay? All right. So no more pressure on yourself, like everybody's going through these amazing pressures within. We got to stop it. Lastly, the 7th chakra, the crown chakra. Okay, this is a little bit different. So the crown chakra runs out like this, and the tip of it is in here. And, you know, like the base chakra, it goes up like this as well to your coccyx and comes out, okay, through that area. The rest are going in and out through the body, okay. So the crown, the divine mind. Head, schizophrenia, you know, depression, you know, feelings of suicide, feelings of not being connected to anything, like feeling lost all over the place. Sadness, upset, mental disorders, again, not being able to fully come into the physical reality. So this one and this one very closely connected. Fear of living in the now. Too much in the fantasy land that you've created to escape what's going on here and now. Difficulty grounding yourself, again, because you're not in your body. Always traveling out there. Hard to fit in. You feel like a loner. You feel like nobody understands you. You feel like there's no one like you on the planet, and there isn't. But you feel like, you know, that if you were to say or to do or to think or to let someone in on what really goes on, that there's going to be some kind of cutoff, rejection. Now, some people feel they're going to be cut off from God. You know, if they don't do this, 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 and this, if they don't suffer in some way, there's going to be no connection to God. They fear it so much, they kind of shut it down. Okay? You feel weird. You feel like other people are going to think that you're weird. This is when anxiety is stemming from the 7th chakra, the crown. You see imperfections always in yourself. Your crown is shut down. When this is open and balanced, you don't see this anymore. Okay? You feel like you're not connected to any soul on the planet because you're not understood by any one of them. Okay? But you're really good with animals. You know, you like working with animals, you like healing with animals because they totally get you. They can see your vibe. They can see where you're at, and they can feel that the energy coming through you is loving, you know, but you just don't know how to give that back to yourself. Okay, so you believe others are going to think that you're weird. This is where your anxiety comes from. You feel at times that, you know, you're slightly higher maybe in some cases than other people, so they're not going to be able to reach you, they're not going to be able to understand you. you live in, you have headaches, you have sleepless nights, all these things happen. So your anxiety stems from, superiority. Maybe someone who you fear their reaction to you on a much, much higher plane. Maybe you fear death and what happens when you pass away so much that it just drives you inward. Maybe you have, all the different parts of your body are connected to some different type of anxiety within you. And sometimes it all hits you in a wave because this is shut off. And you end up curled up in a ball, deep, deep anxiety. You don't know how to get out of it. Again, the suicidal thoughts, maybe I'll just go and escape and be there all the time. You have all these irrational thoughts going on because your body is not functioning in the way or getting the light in the way. And again, you feel like because of your belief structure that no one's going to understand it completely. But the thing that you're forgetting is it doesn't matter whether they do or they don't. That's your journey. It's your life. And you need to give yourself permission to believe whatever it is that you want to believe. Whether you believe in God, Allah, Jesus, whatever it is, or just source energy, or just that there's energy there. Whatever it is that you believe, that it's non-judgmental on you. Okay? And that you believe in the way in which you wish to believe, and you give yourself permission to do it without feeling like you need to escape out, into these other dimensions to run away from reality. Okay? You always believe in some way that no matter what it is that you express, that you're not going to be understood. Okay? So when the crown chakra is shut off, you find, that you have intensity, a complete intensity of different types of emotions, feelings, sensations, psychological thoughts and things going on because it's squashed shut where it needs to be open and free, and you're not giving yourself the chance to do that, and allow all this energy to come in case there's some kind of problem when you do that, and it's created in your mind. Okay? So kids that are with autism, ADHD, they're always in this spiritual realm. They've probably stayed out of their body, all the time. They probably don't know how to ground themselves or anything, and they're afraid to do that. They kind of enjoy it. Other times, children have tried to get back into their body because they've been frightened of what they've seen on the spiritual realm, and then they shut the lid. Like, I'm not going out there again. I'm not opening up to that again because I've had this experience in my life and it was just too much. And, maybe this has happened to you. Maybe you've had some kind of amazing spiritual experience, but it scared you at the same time. Because that can't be right, and I'm going to get in trouble. Something's going to happen. So with imbalances in all of these different areas of your life, it can all be cleared. Okay? But you have to be honest with yourself in the way you feel, in the way that you see, in the way that you believe, and the way that you react. And give yourself affirmations. I'm perfect just the way I am. I'm not nervous, I'm excited. I dare you, body, to get anxious. I dare you. Go ahead, go get anxious. I dare you. And that is the key word too. If you challenge yourself to do something that it always does, it's almost like it will do the opposite. Okay, so use it to your benefit. And that was one of the things, like if I start feeling something coming up and I know that, maybe I've just been extra sensitive, or, I've just been around someone that's needed deep healing and I'm feeling sensitive and I feel, waves of nerves coming up or anxiety, how it used to always do. I just say to myself, I dare you to get anxious right now. Go ahead, just do it. Do it. I dare you. I bet you can't. I bet you can't do it. I bet you can't do it. And it's like you can't force yourself to become anxious. You may think, what am I even trying to get anxious for? I don't need to get anxious. You know what I mean? So you can't trick yourself. Okay? I'm telling you, those little words in itself, after you've done all the work on yourself and you've broken everything down and you've looked at the original wounds and you've looked how you've treated yourself, for a second, look how you talk to yourself. Listen to the things that you say. Would you let someone talk to someone you love like that, or your children like that? No. But we do it to ourselves. Why? Because of all the areas and all the places and all the parts that I've, pointed out, where we feel less than, unworthy, not good enough, useless, stupid, can't speak properly, can't think properly, can't do anything, it's too scary, it's too hard, I've witnessed this and I've witnessed that, and I've had this trauma and that trauma, and the whole world is against me. We've believed this in some way, which has caused the body to just quake, nerves, at wit's end. Our body is like, what are you doing to yourself? It's time to stop. Like, you know what I mean? You have to take control. You are able and you are capable. And you can say to yourself, like I said to you in the beginning, this is very deep. It goes in many different layers, and I'm just trying to give, a general overview of things. Everyone's situation is completely different. So you may think to yourself, yes, but my situation is like 10 times worse, and I get that. Believe me, I do. You wouldn't, like, if you were to look at me now, you wouldn't believe the things that I've been through as a child, okay, and going into being an adolescent. It's not even, there's not even a movie I've ever seen with it in it, okay? So that's how I know it's pretty bad. So, and I just know. So there's been so much trauma that's just ridiculous. And at the time of my life, I was believing all these things that I was saying to you. Well, it must be something I'm doing. It must be something wrong with me. I must be horrible. I must be worth hating. I must be worth treating like that. I must be worth abusing. Just bring it all on me. Come on. I can take it. I can take it. I can take it kind of thing, throughout my life. Without realizing that it wasn't that someone saw that I was weak or stupid or any of those things, that they saw what my potentials were, even before I did. They saw what I could become, so they had to try to squash it. Maybe that was their job, Maybe their job in this life was to try to squash this light and see how hard I was going to push for it, Who knows, that may be happening to you. How hard are you going to push for yourself? How hard, how much do you want a freedom in your life, a free life of all this crap and all this anxiety and worry and fear and stress and rubbish and worry and carry on? How long are you going to go? Other people, judging you or feeling like you're judged or judging other people? How long are you going to go comparing yourself to other women, other men, other lifestyles? Feeling like that only happens. Like, how long are we going to go around in circles? Because this is the way in which you start taking control back, self-analysis, life review, decide that you're worth it, believing in yourself, not the opinions of all these other idiots, people, things that have happened, that you believe that you are a light on the earth. You don't know why you're here yet, okay, you're working it out. You don't know what your path is, except that, you need to find happiness. That's cool. You want to help people. That's awesome. That's all part of it as well. But when you look at yourself and you believe in yourself, and you do it by reprogramming your mind to do it, your life will change so quickly that you will never go back to the way things were before. And you're going to get the last laugh without even having to say anything, because you're going to be successful, confident, strong, powerful, all the things everyone was trying to stop you from actually owning. You're owning it. And no one can take that away from you unless you let them. So I wanted to make this video on anxiety. Of course, there's all these different parts. It's all can be confusing. Know if you need help with healing, I'm here. Okay? If there's anything that comes up in your life, I'm sure I can help you with it on some level. Crazy levels as well in some people's cases. It's awesome what we get to discover, what's out there. So, I hope that this is helpful to you guys out there. Know that you're not alone in how you're feeling, but that you can fight this and you will win, okay? And that there's other methods that we can use, and we can go over it as well, meditation and all this kind of stuff. But you must get to the core of your belief about yourself and why it's there. And understand that your trauma is valid, no matter how small it may seem. you know, to you or other people. A trauma is a trauma. You've had one. It's affected you. It's doing things to you. And now you have a way through it. You have a way out of it. And I really hope this helps you. And I really thank you all for listening, being a part, subscribing, sharing this, please. Please share this video with anyone that you know that really wants to look at the deeper reasons of their anxiety, or really just wants some help, or that to know that there are other people like them out there, okay? And I hope that this is helpful. Again, that's all, you know, it's coming from my heart with love for humanity and to help you guys to heal yourself. That's my biggest mission here, helping you to heal yourself, okay? And until the next time, lots and lots of love, many blessings, and goodbye for now.